Hello, and welcome to the Bold Black Girls Podcast. I'm Aries,
And I am Kim.
and we're back.
Back again. Episode.
Back in effect. This is episode 4.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
All right. So, welcome everyone to our episode 4. So, let's get caught up.
I know.
So, let's see. What have you been up to lately? I think you've been to some events.
No events for me.
No?
I've not been to any. Well, have I? I don't know.
Kev on stage.
Yeah. Girl, I didn't forgot about that already. I don't know why.
You do so much.
Because I feel like every day, like, especially today. So, Kim and I had a board meeting this morning. It was a retreat. So, it was like 8:30 in the morning on a Saturday. I mean,
8:30 a.m.
my brain, it wasn't prepared to be like thinking because we had to think today.
Critical.
So
Creative.
I'm kind of like sleepy still.
We need a
and
nap.
I really need a nap. I'm gonna have to get one because I'm supposed to go to a pool party later.
Life after 35, I highly suggest naps. I'm a
Agree.
proponent of naps.
Yeah, so we went, Kev on stage and the comedians of social media were out here. When was that? Friday? Thursday. And, oh my God, it was hilarious. So it was Doughboy, Tahir, Tony Baker, and Kev on stage. And his brother Jason. I love Jason Fredericks. He's just so... His comedy is different. Like, it was hilarious. So me and my friend Jania, you know Jania.
Yes.
We went and it was just like...
Shout out to Jania scooting around.
Yeah, she broke her ankle, so she has this mobile scooter that she has to... And then we all get to be her chauffeur and drive her around because she can't drive. It's on her right foot. So I'm like, that sucks.
That's
so,
how you know you're real friends.
For real. For real. So I picked her up. We went over there and it was hilarious. Like just tear-jerking laughter.
I love comedy.
And me and her are the type to be like, bah, heck a laugh, like, we laugh ugly.
I love
it. So I'm just like wiping my tears the whole time, cracking up. It was cool just to see everybody like in real life.
Okay.
You see people on Instagram and you're like, oh yeah, you're a human. Forgot.
And I'm just amazed at how people are becoming famous because of Instagram.
I know. And did you see the thing where they're trying to, well, they said they were thinking about not showing your followers how many likes your pictures got, only you.
No.
So I need to, I gotta figure out how to test that because I want to go look and see if I can.
And this is an Instagram feature?
I think so. Well, so yeah, because one of my friends on there have posted it on her story. Like, I think actually it was Tony.
Tony Howard-Low?
Uh-huh.
Okay, I'll have to go back.
I think she posted it. And so she was like, yeah, that would be good. So I was like, oh, that's interesting. It was like a screenshot from Instagram. So I was like,
go check that out.
Might be interesting. So anyway, yep. But I don't think that'll stop people from being famous. I think because your followers or whatever, I think is what they're looking at. So
I love it. Gives everyone exposure and opportunity.
Yeah. What about you? You been doing anything?
You know what I have been doing? I've been taking off a half a day every Friday. Just flexible and agile, and I just whatever flows
like that. You
whatever flows my way. Whatever flows my way.
You go with it.
Personally, I go do it.
Oh, okay.
So I want to say this Friday I went and ate seafood.
Where? Because I love
Crab
seafood.
Station. I have to take you.
Yes,
so I've been
you do.
eating my best life.
I'm an entrepreneur. I need people to take me places.
Yes, I will take you. We might have to share.
That's okay.
Which we need to share.
We do need to share. I've been losing weight though, so
I'm still struggling.
I'm just saying.
I started a new workout program. I've been lifting more weights.
So here's what I need to start actually lifting weights because I don't work out right now, but I have been augmenting my food intake. So that's why I'm losing weight. I was like, so I wanted to get that under control first and then get into the workout. I'm a one step at a time type person. I didn't want to feel like I'm on a diet. I'm not, but I do intermittent fasting.
I don't believe in diets.
So I've been doing an intermittent fasting where basically I just don't eat till lunchtime. So I have coffee in the morning, and then I just do it like that. So eat more salads and stuff like that. But I need to get I can tell because like TMI, but like my butt is not as
firm,
as lifted as it used to be. You know, it's like it was just like
it's
rounder.
not that ballerina booty.
It was round and like, you know, and it's still round, but it's not as like, you know, those hamstrings kind of help push it up.
So you might need to join Body Pump. Shout out to Carolyn.
I know. Is she teaching Body Pump?
No, she only teaches cycle. Life after 35 take you different places.
I better be gentle on those knees.
Ooh.
So yeah, I got to get my workout game. So we need to
help each other.
Help each other.
I'm great with the working out. The eating, I don't probably eat enough for what I do.
I think I'm the same way, but I'm getting better at that.
So, you know, then I can live life off a smoothie bowl, but it's probably not sustainable.
You and these smoothie bowls.
Smoothies, salads, and soup. All right. We also went to go see S3. Oh, we saw Lion King, so we went to go see.
I saw it yesterday.
Yeah, so Kiara's name from that movie, so that was like nostalgia.
That was her name.
So Nala and Simba had a daughter. Their daughter name is Kiara.
I didn't know that. See, that's from the Lion King 1.5. That ain't from the original.
I love all things Lion King, so
yeah,
I followed it all the way through.
Oh.
Yeah, so just having.
Did you like it?
I loved it.
I liked it too.
And I loved the food that was there. We went to Movie House Eatery.
We went to Studio Movie Grill.
Okay.
And I had a salad.
Oh, I did not.
A Southwestern chicken salad. It had like this char grilled chicken or something. It was good.
It was good.
Avocado.
Okay. Did you like it?
Mm-hmm.
The boys?
They had pizza.
Okay.
Good. But yeah, I love Lion King. That was a good movie.
All right. So let's jump into our episode. So today we're going to talk about networking. And specifically, I'd like to at least start the conversation off with what was your first job? And how old were you?
Well.
And how did you get that first job?
I was 14.
Okay.
And, well, really my first job was ironing clothes for my stepdad.
So.
$2 a shirt.
Oh, wow.
That was pretty expensive back in those
days.
Because if you go to the cleaners now. Exactly. So. I had to. So yeah, that wasn't my bright idea. But so I used to do little hustle jobs. But my first actual job, so you had to be 16 to get a work permit. But the city of Richmond had this program where you can do work in the summer. You can do have a summer job, working full time and everything, but you're out of school. So it's like you get a kind of a permit to work for the summer. So they put you go through this little application process and all that. My parents had nothing to do with it. I found this on my own. I have no idea how I found it out.
Was this application paper?
It was paper. You had to go down.
Age and the generation.
You had to go down there, and it was like a bunch of us in this big old like auditorium filling out our stuff, having all your paperwork together. And they put you in the system, and then they'll assign you the job. So you don't know where you're going to work, but you know it's going to be somewhere in the city of Richmond, like within one of those departments. So my job was at the Richmond Housing Authority, which is usually low-income housing, the place that kind of takes care of all that stuff. So it was in the maintenance department. Now, at first, when I went to the location where I was supposed to be working, it was supposed to be me and some other person, but the office that I thought I was going to work out of, they're like, no, you're not going to be in this office. They only got room for one person, so you're going to be over here. And I was thinking like, why y'all put me it was in a whole different building, way somewhere else. It was just me, and it was in the maintenance department. So all the maintenance workers, kind of where their warehouse was, their inventory, their work orders to go out and fix the homes, like if somebody's toilet is clogged up or something, whatever.
Right.
So what would happen is people would call in, I need something maintenance at the house. I would take the call, I would type up the work order, put it out in the out bin. The workers, as they go throughout the day, they go in and pull out the work order.
So this was not electronic either.
This was a paper that they took with them. And then I also did inventory, so I would go in on nails and, all the stuff they used to go out and fix. I would make sure that all that was up to date. And I was doing filing, so organizing all that paperwork and filing. So I ran the office. The guy who was there was so excited for me to come And he just was gone. I was like, I barely remember him even being at work. I ran that office by.
That was a nice job.
So, but the first week was scary because those people were not nice. That's how I learned customer service. Doing that job, they were calling like, just going off, and I was like the first week I'm like, oh my god, like they're yelling at me and stuff. And then I was like, you know what? It was like one day I just got fed up. Like I'm gonna take control of this. They're not gonna be calling me. I was being bold. That was my first bold moment. So the next time somebody called, I let them say whatever they were saying, and I'm like, okay, ma'am, listen, I'm gonna need you. I'm gonna place you on hold while I do this. Like I just kind of took control, and then after that, I had my little smooth R&B in the background, and I was just kicking it.
So
but
you
it was
had
40.
Emotional intelligence early before it was even probably defined.
I guess, yeah, I did.
Awesome.
So yeah, that was my first job.
Love it.
What was your first job?
Well, my first job, going back to your $2 a shirt, I was a little hustler. So I would babysit the kids in the neighborhood. 3 little girls, and I want to say I charged $100 a week.
That's expensive.
That's very expensive.
For a neighborhood babysitter.
With no taxes. So I was at home, and my mother was a teacher, so I was already creative. So I would have an agenda for them, and literally would plan their day. We would go outside. We would have recess, recreation. I would do like book work, as they used to call it, with them, reading, movie time, and I made their food.
Oh, I was like...
Yeah, I was a great babysitter.
No wonder. That's why I be sending my kids
and everybody else.
Exactly.
I don't want to be bothered with my own kids.
See?
But my first real paid job was at Miss Fields Cookie. I don't like cookies like that.
Miss Fields.
Yeah.
What are they called? Niblets?
Niblets. And I will tell you how I got the job. It was networking. It was networking before I knew what networking was. It was someone who lived on my block. She was the manager there. And I want to say I might have been working somewhere else, maybe at the Dollar Tree. And I wanted to get on with that job because I was having some challenges at the Dollar Tree with someone. And so she was like, well, yeah, I'll hire you. And it was just simply from networking. I filled out the application. I got the job.
Was that a paper application?
It was a paper application. And actually, now that I think about it, I had a couple of different jobs. So after I started babysitting as well, I realized I don't like sweeping cookies because I don't want to work in the fast food. That was one of my requirements. I didn't want to do fast food and I didn't want to do retail. So the Dollar Tree was easy. Everything was $1, so I didn't have to verify anything. How much is this? That's $1. Cookies, it didn't require handling grease and cleaning up. It was really just sweeping up the cookie crumbs. So then after that, when I went back to school, I found a job at our park district, the local park district, and got that through networking. A friend of mine came to school. She was like, yeah, I got this job. And I said, well, put me on. Put me on. Right. And so she gave my application on my resume, and she said, come up to the park, and they hired me.
How old were you?
Probably 16 or 17. And so I had it adjusted where my school schedule, where I would have lunch on the back end. So then I would go to that job from 3 to 6 because I didn't want to work long hours because did I have Kiara? I think I had Kiara, so I was probably 17 and a half, almost 18. And after that, it turned into a full-time job with the city.
See?
And so they did a layoff. They laid her off and kept me. I felt...
The person who referred
Yes.
you. I would be pissed.
I felt so bad.
I'll be mad.
So, those were our first, I don't know if they're non-corporate. So, what was your first corporate job?
My first corporate job.
And how did you secure it?
Would the bank be a corporate job?
It would.
So, I worked it was networking. So, that one wasn't networking. So, the first corporate job I had, I worked at, was it Wells Fargo? I think it was either Wells Fargo. I'm trying to think, was it Wells Fargo before I went to Home Savings? Yeah, so it was Wells Fargo Bank. I don't know. It was a trip because I never thought about being a bank teller, but for some reason I just was like, I'm gonna apply for this job and see, and I ended up getting it.
Paper application.
For application, for sure. I don't think I filled out an online application until 2000 something.
Did you have to attach your resume?
I don't know.
Because back then, the application would ask for your job history and how much you made.
Yeah. I don't think it required a resume back then. And so I did that, but what happened was I worked there for a while and we got robbed. So this is in El Cerrito. This is in Richmond. I didn't get robbed, but the lady next to me got. I was like, if I get robbed, I'm out of here. Like, I'm done. It's not my money.
No
I ain't
Bonnie
got
and
time.
Clyde.
Yeah. So I think I don't know why I left Wells Fargo. I feel like I left Wells Fargo and went to another bank, but that job I did get through networking. It was my stepdad's cousin who was the manager, and I was like, hey, like put me on because I want to go to a different. I want to work at a different bank. And then but I still had to interview and everything. Like, it was a group interview. That was my first, like, everybody's kind of, like, in the same room.
Wow.
And they're asking everyone questions. Like, have you ever had that?
I was just going to say, I've never had a group interview.
It was, like, 6 of us, and they're asking everybody questions. So you're, like, in front of people.
So you're hearing what they're saying.
Yes. And it's kind of like a competition of, like, who can come up with the best, who can look the best in front of everybody. And, of course,
my girl secured it.
I secured the bag.
Okay. All right.
What about you?
Well, so let me tell you a story. So I was going to school full time, and I needed a part-time job because I want to say I quit the park district, or I became very tired of other people's children. So, and I didn't have energy for mine when I went home. So I was like, okay, I have to do something different. And I was going to school in downtown Chicago. So I think a friend was like, well, you should go to Mercy Hospital, which is where Kiara was born. I said, okay. So I go down, I get to the hospital. I say, hey, where's your HR department? They said, oh, it's in the basement. I said, okay. By the morgue. By the morgue. I was like, okay, well, I don't want that job. I attempted to go down there till I saw a body sitting outside. And I said, okay, you know what?
A body
outside? Was, yes, of the HR department.
No.
Because they were next door to the morgue. So I was like, I don't want that job. That's not what I want. Because I figure hospitals don't ever close. People will always need hospitals. So I was at school one day, and this guy named Fred that I used to talk to as a friend, and we were real cool. And we rode the bus together because he lived, like, literally down the street. And he said, Kim, I'm getting ready to quit school. I'm like, why are you quitting? He was like, I found this job at this company. I said, put me on.
Of course. Gotta open your mouth.
Yeah, so he was like, okay, give me your resume. Because at that time, we were in school, so we knew about resumes. I gave him my resume. He said, I'll give you a resume. She called me. And
keep talking because I'm going to...
I went to the interview. I got the interview. Mm-hmm. And I was a temp. So she hired me as a temp for about, I want to say at least 11 to 12 months I was a temp. And so they renewed it because it would expire. So she renewed the contract. So I might have been a temp for like a year and 6 months. And then they had some full-time positions open. So I ended up applying for it, and I got the job full-time. So that's how I started where I've been for the last 18 years.
18 years. That's a long time.
It is. And I've just realized that all of my jobs have been secured through networking. It's who you know. And it wasn't what I knew. It was who I knew.
Yeah, I think pretty much all of the jobs I've had something to do with networking. Mm-hmm. Except for no, all of them. Yep. All of them. Even on LinkedIn or something. Like I had recruiter reach out to me on LinkedIn a job that I did not apply for, and I ended up getting that job. That's when I was at Genesis Pure.
Okay.
And then even the one at Dices, a guy hit me up on LinkedIn, Philip Witcher. He hit me up randomly, did not know him, and was like, hey, like, I see you're looking, asked me a couple questions, and was like trying to help a sister out. And he was kind of in the recruiting space, and he just sent me a job one day. Was like, hey, is this kind of like your thing? And I'm like, it is. He was like, you should reach out to the recruiter. I'm like, I will. So I reached out to the lady, got an interview, and it was history from there. So I've definitely had a lot of majority of my jobs, I don't even remember applying for any other jobs other than that one I'm talking about.
Wow, I would say the same thing. Even internally, I've moved around the company in several different departments, and it was really mainly because of relationships that I had established internally that I was able to secure that job. Even this job here, it was my boss is someone I met 17 years ago in that same department that I started in.
Wow.
So we've been knowing each other for at least 17 years. And so when I applied for the job, I did not know I would be reporting to him. So I'm glad we had a good.
Y'all knew each other that long.
Yeah, I'll tell you a funny story. So our relationship is unique and different. I'm different.
Yes, you are.
And so, even though we weren't in the same department, I would see him on the L, right, which is our local train station, CTA. And so this was when iPods first started coming out. So he's on the train, and Chicago's very segregated. So blacks live in the black neighborhoods, and you have white people who live in that neighborhood. It's just all broken up into the different cultures or the race, ethnicity. So I was going south. He was going north. We were on the same platform. And so it was winter, and he had his coat. He had his hands inside his coat, and he had his headphones on, and he was jamming to the music. So I walk up to him, I stick my finger in the back of his. I said, "Put your hands up." He thought I was trying to jack him for his iPod. And so even to this day, when I got the job, he told his boss, like, "Let me tell you something about Kim." And that's the story that we.
Oh my gosh, you can't do that nowadays.
I know, because they might turn around and shoot me.
Might stab you. Oh my gosh.
So I was real bold to do that.
You were definitely bold.
So that pretty much explains the type of employee I am.
That sounds about right. It sounds perfectly like you.
So tell me, how did you secure your current job?
My current job is my own business, so secured that by being laid off of my last job. Basically. But no, the work that I do is secured through networking. I mean, that's pretty much how it is. Networking is my go-to. You know, we always say we're the queens of networking.
I was gonna say that.
And it wasn't something I went looking for. I didn't know what I wanted to do, what kind of business I wanted to have. I just did what I did, like, you know, working with ATW and doing different things that come to me naturally, and being in spaces where, you know, like we said, when we network, it's intentional. I'm going somewhere that I am going to learn something,
for a reason,
meet someone, you know, all that stuff. And so just being around those spaces and coming across the same people all the time, people start recognizing you for what you do and things like that. So that's pretty much how I do everything, because you just never know.
You never know. You never know, one, who you're going to work with, who you may report to, and who may report to you. So I think the key takeaway from that is cultivate your relationships and try not to burn bridges.
You took the words out of my mouth. I was just about to say, don't burn bridges, because I'm telling you, I've come back around with certain bosses, you know, through this space, you know, because a lot of us, we're still in the same technology space. So I've had my old boss on panels, you know, we were in Intertech. I had, so it's like I'm always coming across, you just never know how it may play out later.
Yeah,
so
how those paths may cross and what opportunity may exist in the future with that person.
Very true.
All right, so since we are called Queens of Networking, and we didn't term that, it was termed to us.
Right.
They say, if where's Aries, because wherever Aries is, Kim is surely not far away.
Are y'all attached at the
hip?
Yeah. Yes, we are.
And we work the room. It's a skill. Because I don't even know how I learned.
And we're not like, we don't hang together at the places. Like, usually we get there and we be gone. Like, I'm over here. I'm like, I'll be back. I got to go over here. And we just kind of go.
And then we'll sync up later. And we may recap at a happy hour or after party.
Yep, exactly.
So, when I think of networking with you, I don't even know when we started networking.
Well, remember we went to that first, we talked about that, I think, last time, where we went to that first networking event, how we met, remember?
That's right.
That first networking event.
Right. Quotes.
Social networking.
It's social networking.
But still, we got similar interests, so, you know, we're in
the same space.
We always doing the same.
So I want to say one of my our most recent memorable networking event was when we went to South by Southwest.
Yeah.
This past March. And I think I took off on Friday. We got up and left about...
We road tripped.
Yep. About
to Austin.
5 o'clock in the morning.
Dang, it was that early? It was early.
5-ish.
It was early because we got there. It was still like 9 something. Wasn't it like...
It was like 9 a.m. or 10.
9 something.
We couldn't check into the hotel, so we went straight to the networking event.
Mm-hmm.
Went to the networking event. We were like, it was okay. It was cool. It wasn't bad.
But we were like, okay, what else is out here? Like, we're here. This is a big event,
yes,
you know, so something got to be going on. And we got to Googling and looking on Facebook.
Before we got to Googling, we were like, I need a nap.
Oh, we took a major nap.
So you were like, I'm hungry and I need a nap. Let's go back to the hotel. Let's check in. So we checked into the hotel. Did we have food?
We went to Papados first.
I thought we went to Papados at night.
Oh, that was the night before.
We went somewhere. Or maybe we took a nap first.
No, we took a nap first and then we went and got food.
Okay, so we took the nap first. And that's how you know you have good friends.
When you can nap together, that's just so important.
Yeah. You can't be my friend if you don't like naps.
We're like, okay, turn the lights on.
Close the curtains.
Ready to go. And that was a great nap too. But yeah,
one of the best.
So then we got to Googling. And Kim came across this.
It was an event at the African American History Museum in Austin, right?
Was it African American History?
It was.
Yeah.
It was.
That was a good little spot.
And we found the event. We registered, even though we didn't know if we were going to be able to get in. But we were like, look, let's just be bold.
Chance.
Yep, we took a bold chance. So we signed up, and we said we were going to be there early so we wouldn't have any issues getting in.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Got there. We were there while they were even setting up.
I like getting the networking events early. That's actually, I would say, one of my tips for people. I tell people, like, get there early because you can meet people in advance, you know, before the crowds. You get some FaceTime sometimes with the speakers.
Yep.
Because I think we had met some of the, like, event planning people, and
sure
we got some free stuff. We got some goodie bags and some swag and all that stuff. So,
and we met some other people too.
Met some new people.
Yep. Waiting. I say get there early as well. One, so you can secure your seat and you're not sitting in the back.
Yeah, because I don't do backs.
I don't either. Not even back of elevators.
Mm-mm. I'll be right there by the button.
I have challenges riding in the back seat of the car.
I don't like riding in the back seat either. But yeah,
unless
so we
I'm
did
napping.
that. It was called Truth Tellers.
Yes, by Higher Heights.
And it was on Essence Live, which I didn't know.
Oh, they partnered with Essence.
Yeah, so it was like, oh, we on the little Essence Live. So that was fun. It was really good. All black women panel, just talking about, you know, our stuff.
Simone Sanders was there.
Oh yeah, she was the moderator. Yep. I think it was
she
panel.
a moderator?
Yeah.
Okay.
She was. It was good.
Very good.
We had a good old time.
We did. So that was one of our most recent memorable moments.
Mm-hmm.
So let me ask you this. When did you learn about networking and understand what it truly was?
I learned through my parents. And really it was mostly about, it was more the social networking. And I realized that, like, they knew everybody. My parents are the type that's like, and you know my mom.
I could see that. Yes.
Like, I would go to the mall with my dad, and we couldn't hardly get through the mall because every time we walked a couple steps, hey, Marv, how you doing? I'd be like, dang. And then when I got to high school, it was me doing that. And he was like, oh, okay, like, you got your little friends now. So, over the years, just watching my parents kind of engage with people and interact, I realized the importance of, like, having a social network. And I think when I came, like, with same thing I was saying about, like, looking for friends, right? I wasn't open to that necessarily. And so at the same time that I'm saying, okay, let me start opening up to, like, friendships and things like that, I realized, like, I need to open up my professional network as well. As far as, I know I'm good at social networking. Like, I'm good at that. And I said, you know, I need to figure out how to do that in my professional life. Like change those skills that I have in my social life to meet people, have friends, and all that stuff. Do that professionally. And I probably didn't start that till about 4 years ago. Of actively being like, I'm going to try to build a network.
A professional network.
Yep. So when we started going to ATW, I think was like when I really kind of went in on being an active networker.
I want to say I didn't learn about networking probably till I got to Texas. So my parents are older, so they weren't socializing, they weren't networking, they were just literally going to work. And they had relationships with people in the neighborhood and maybe her coworkers, but it wasn't real networking. Not even socialization, because they're from the South. So they're like, look, let's just get this work done, take care of this family. That's it. So when I moved to Texas, it was probably before I moved to Texas, though, right before, we had our business resource groups at the company I work for. And so they have an African American emotion is what they call it. And I want to say I joined that, and that's when I realized what networking was, because we also had an affiliation to BDPA, which is Black Data Processing Association. And so I went to a meeting, and I was like, what is this? I was like, oh, but they have free food.
Look, free food and wine.
That's another plus.
I'm in.
Yes, especially when they have wine.
I'm like, oh yeah, we're going to that
Good
one.
Cheese. Good cheese.
Good cheese.
Good cheese. And so when I moved to Texas, I really had to go off of networking for everything, because I'm here and I don't know. I mean, I had family, but they lived out south and I'm out north. So how do I know about the different things that are going on? Where to send my daughter to school? Where should I go get my hair done? That required networking.
That's true.
So I really had to socialize and network to say, hey, where should I go to the gym at? And then I started networking at the gym. As Mona say, I need to be networking at the gym more often.
And I think when I started working out here, when I moved to Texas, I was working downtown Dallas, and they had a really good internal mentoring program at AT&T. Oh. And that was kind of my first step in networking, was within the company, meeting people, going to the women's events and stuff like that. And then I was also a member of the National Black MBA Association. Okay. So I would go to their events and stuff too.
All right. Mm-hmm. So you talked about your personality. So they talk about extroverts, introverts, and now we have ambiverts. Do you think that your personality helps you with networking?
Oh yeah. And I feel like I'm like an ambivert though.
I'm in the middle too. People think I'm an extrovert.
They think I am too.
I'm not.
If they knew how much we are in those beds and tubs.
If you go off my Facebook post, you think I'm an extroverted person. But I need my downtime.
I get burnt.
I do too.
I will burn out.
I get burned out on networking events too.
Oh, I do that all the time.
And I have to mentally prepare myself. Like, I know you and I, you've helped me with the calendar, because sometimes I'm like, she's like, did you know you had this event? I'm like, no. She's like, I put it on my calendar.
We have a shared calendar that for events and stuff.
So now I really use that calendar, and I know we have events coming up this week. I've already laid out my outfits for the events and mentally prepared myself. Okay.
You got to.
I know I'm going to get questions. What do you do? Where do you work? And that can be draining.
That's true. It is for me. Because sometimes you're just like, I don't feel like it.
Right. And then it depends on the content of the actual event as well. You go anticipating one thing and it's not what you anticipated.
Yeah, that's not good. But I think we've been pretty good. We've had some good. I haven't had any events that I was like, oh, this sucks.
I might have had some I've had to leave early.
Leave early?
Yeah.
Nah, I leave early.
I was like, I'm not feeling it. If I'm not feeling it.
Oh, yeah, you gotta go. Don't waste your time. I'm out of there.
So people say, oh, I'm introverted. I can't network. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, yeah, I'm always. Everyone networks, whether they are doing it actively or not. You are a brand. Like when people think of your name, they're thinking of something based on whatever you've presented. And what I think is important is just not making it about personality. Right. Because I think as an extrovert, it does make it easier, because I'm it's easy for me to talk to people.
Right, and I get filled up from that.
Yeah,
from
so
people.
I just will be like, hey, you know, like I like talking out, saying my thoughts out loud so that I can kind of flesh them out. That's how I flesh them out, by talking to people. Which means I know how to small talk folks. I can come in to any room of people I don't know and just make a conversation. If you're an introvert, you got to use your own personality as a strength to figure out how to work the room, you know. So obviously there's like a couple ways you can do that by.
And I say, as an introvert, set a goal, set a small goal. Meet 2 people.
I usually just say one.
Right. I say one, but I mean, if you want to be adventurous.
If you want to get, you know, risky.
Right. 2 people.
Take risks. And then just say, I'm not leaving until I meet at least 2 people that, you know, don't just go to be like, oh, hi, my name is Aries. Person. What's your name, Kim? Okay, got my person. No, why are you there? Right. There's a reason. So say, there's somebody I'm supposed to meet. And Lauren is good at that because she'll be like, who are you going to meet tonight? And I'm like, okay, yeah, let me think about who the person is I'm trying to meet. There should be at least one person that is like a key person that I need to meet tonight. And I don't leave until I meet them.
Okay. I like it. So we've done a lot of networking over the past 4 years. For you, what are some of those benefits, or how have you benefited from networking?
Everything. Every single thing is tied to, it boils down to relationships.
It really does.
Right? And I think networking gets a bad rep because people will look at it like salesy.
Yep.
You know? Because a lot of times that's why people do it. They do it to get something. And it's not always that way. You don't know how these things play out. Like if I just go from you going to the BDPA thing you just talked about.
Yes.
And then telling me about a BDPA event that was happening, and I went with you.
Well, that's how we met DFW.
That's how Darcy was there as a speaker. She invited us to the Executive Leadership Forum that I now plan as a program director.
And I'm her committee.
How did that happen? You know, that's all from that one thing that you did.
Yep.
We meet Darcy. She, you know, started networking with the board, start meeting the board members from ATW, going to the meetings and building those relationships.
And then don't forget,
and here we are.
The Emerging Leaders Program.
Emerging Leaders.
Scholarship.
Everything. And so who knows what these next things are doing. You know, meeting people through that organization is allowing you to meet people from other places. It just all kind of ties together. And so you just can't be afraid to build relationships. That's how things are done. You know, we're thinking that if we just do a good job and apply to a whole bunch of jobs online and all that, that's how you're going to get it. And it's not like that.
It's really not.
It's really about who you know. You know, people have been saying that for years. And that's the truth. Because some of it is just like, oh, I know somebody who knows me. I've nominated multiple women who end up getting technology awards this year because they asked me if I knew somebody. Yep, I know this person, that person. Throw them. Cool. But that's from networking with those people. Yep. And them coming to mind, you know, at the time. So
I love it. It expands your network, and not even just professionally, because I've had some professional relationships that have turned into personal relationships.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. You just never know. You never know what that relationship is going to end up doing. So it's always a benefit as far as I'm concerned. I don't think there.
And I've even been at a networking event. Somebody approached me like, "Are you looking for a job?" And I was like, "I wasn't ready."
I sure am. I'm always looking.
I was like, "Take it back.
Tell me more."
And I even say networking at the gym. So how we met was really networking. And although you had your gym clothes on, we don't know who's a director in there that's working out.
We got a lot of them.
We really do.
We realize that.
Yes, there are a lot of leaders in the gym that are working out. Yeah. I had someone approach me at the gym and said, "If you ever need a job, come talk to me." And I was like, "What?"
Keep that name.
So, what are maybe some of your challenges of networking? I know we talked about it can be draining for both of us. Like, you really have to make mentally prepare for it.
Challenging, you know, as a parent.
Yes. I
have to make time for it. And that's why I'm so intentional with the type of events I go to, because I don't have time to be out here every night doing that. You know, a lot of these events are from 6 to 8 and that's prime family time. Yeah. So I am not trying to do that a bunch of times a week and miss those times with my kids. So I might do it twice a week, depending upon what's happening, if it just works out that way. But I try not to do that. I usually try to limit it to like once. But I also do other times. So let's say a lunchtime brown bag type of thing could work better, for a parent, a mom. I usually tell people that. Or breakfast. We've been to events that start at 7:30 to 9:30 or something. Even though I'm not necessarily a morning person.
Well, I am.
It can benefit.
Miss Mabel over here, I'm up at 5 a.m.
Yes, you are, in the tub. But yeah, so that's a challenge for parents. But I have a babysitter.
I was going to say, you have a great support system. Because I don't know that I was networking when Kiara was young. Although, I did have a good support system. I didn't know what networking truly was.
Right.
I didn't know where to find the events.
Yeah, I think that's the beauty of the technology now. We can find anything. Like we did. We were literally in a hotel room on our phones looking up stuff and found a great event.
Because I get that question all the time, like, how do you find events? I said, one, I look, or sometimes it just finds me. Because you have artificial intelligence, so an event will pop up, either be it on Facebook or Meetup. Eventbrite, Meetup.
Suggested events.
Yep.
Based on things that you've done in the past. They'll find your patterns and say, oh, you look like the type of person that like going to Black people events. And that's how it works.
Okay. All right. So you've already talked about how you make time for networking. I know I had to limit myself because I was going networking crazy. So kind of going back to what you said, being very intentional and understanding, okay, well, what value will I receive out of this? And perhaps what value could I add?
Gotta figure that out. I think that's really how you figure out what events to go to, right? Or where to be at what time. Because it's not always like an event. It might just be, I need to be there because so-and-so is going to be there at whatever it is. It may not be a big old, this is a networking event. It might just be, I need to be in the room wherever this is taking place. But as far as tips.
Yes, tips. And even tips for college students, because I think about Kiara. So she's going to college. I said, make sure you are attending like those events that I'm trying to think, what is that area? The council, yep, the student union, when they host events, make sure you're going there because you never know who's there either. And I'm sure they have career fairs. So make sure they know who you are. Make
your face known. You need the face-to-face interaction. I'm a queen of face-to-face interaction. Like, you got to get that face-to-face. So, for instance, if I know I want to connect with someone on something that I want to elaborate on later, I'm going to go to the place where I know this person's going to be so that they meet me face-to-face. I will follow up with an email or a LinkedIn request or something. But you've already met me, so you feel like, oh, I'll respond to your email now because I have the physical. You're a real person.
Yeah.
Somebody just emailing you, you're like, ignore that, But if you're like, oh, the girl from, you remind them of where you met them. So I'm all about face-to-face. That's my number one thing. But I will say first, though, a lot of the reason people have problems with like networking, let's say if it's an event, I feel like the fear is just going into a room of people that you don't know.
Unknown.
Right? You're like, I don't know how to start they don't know how to do small talk. You have to practice this stuff ahead of time, and try to figure out ways. It may just be like going to a restaurant by yourself.
Yep.
And sitting at the bar.
I do it all the time.
Me too. And then you're kind of like, oh, like see something on the person or acknowledge something. Like find something that you can start a conversation on. And then it starts getting easier. But you got to get out there and just kind of go.
And there are plentiful bars and happy hours in Dallas. So you can definitely get a lot of practice.
You can get a lot of practice. So you just got to kind of set up those little things. What else?
I would say be yourself.
Gotta be yourself.
Always be authentically you because one, I only want you to accept me for who I am. If you don't, I'm not for everybody and I'm okay with that.
That's right.
I'm absolutely okay with that. So just be authentic. Be yourself.
Because people can tell when you're not.
Yeah, they
really
know
can.
You're not.
So now they're like, I don't even want to talk to you because you're fake.
And kind of going back to what you said about small talk, engage. And so engaging in that conversation, listen. Because there are times, went to a conference, Dreamforce, and met a lady from Slalom, was in Chicago for work. And so I was like, hey, how are your kids doing? How your son and daughter? She was like, you remembered? And just remembering that, when you remember that, people will remember you.
I make little notes in my phone. So let's say I put someone's number in and I find out some like facts about them, like their kids or something. You taught me that. I'll put a note in that contact, like son name, such and such, daughter name, plays baseball, or something like that. Just so I can remember when I meet them again. And that does impress people when you can remember something about them. So I agree to that one.
Okay. And kind of going back to what your mom said when engaging conversation. Be interesting. That's like even for dating. Like who wants to date somebody that's boring? Have something to talk about. So go do things that make you interesting.
Every day you're talking, oh, what did you, oh, nothing, what's the word? And laid in the bed. And, okay. Well, all right. We're moving on to the next person. Like, yeah, be interesting. For real.
Yeah.
You have an interesting life. You have things that you are interested in. So have just something that you can contribute, to the conversation. I have a million tips on networking, but I think that's important,
And I would say value. What value will you receive, and what value can you add to this organization or to a person? Because I don't ever go to a networking event like, what can I take? How can I be of service? What can I give? How can I help this next person? They might be looking for a job, and my company's hiring. I can connect you with that person, or I can connect you with someone.
And even if you do have something you want, right? Don't go in asking for it right away. Like, let's be more thoughtful. So, for instance, let's say that this person who you're trying to meet and work with eventually is they're doing find out what kind of work they're doing. Find out what they're working on. See how you can add value to them. Say, hey, do you have someone that maybe you take pictures or something? And like, do you have somebody helping you video your content, or whatever, or take pictures? I'd like to offer, my services to you or something. Or I'd like to connect you with, I saw that you were working on XYZ. I know someone over here that you can, just go in giving. And then that way, the person you're disarming people. You're saying, oh, wow, you're being consistent. You're building an actual relationship that shows I'm not trying to take from you. But it will open it up because it is a give and take. What you give, you're going to receive something. You're going to get
it back. And it might not be from that person.
It may not be. They might know somebody else that they can connect you with. Who knows? You just never know. But don't go in and always looking for the one thing, the thing that you can take from that person.
Yes.
I agree. I got a million tips on networking though.
You really do. Matter of fact, you hosted a networking one-on-one where you gave a presentation on it, right?
Yep.
She is queen of networking, so.
And then on my other podcast, I did a whole episode on, my tips.
Yes.
But I think the key to it is, I think it's levels to kind of really being good at it, because you got to figure out really what you're trying to do with
what you're trying to accomplish.
Just period. Yeah. What is your purpose? It kind of really goes down to the core, and being okay with saying, I'm out here just building relationships. I don't have the answer to how that's going to increase sales and revenue and all that stuff all the time, because salespeople are good at like going out for the networking kill. And I don't think it's always like that. Like literally in my job, like when I'm working for a company doing, customer success or service delivery type stuff, I'm building relationships with clients and I'm learning about them. I'm learning what their pain points are. What do they need help with?
Yes.
Okay, I can add value in these places. They're seeing my consistency, my giving, my looking out for them as if it was my own, and the trust and building trust and all that. And then they're going to give me the sale. I'm going to get the deal the next time because they trust me.
And
you know, and you are
trust.
showing it.
You just
yeah.
said it. Trust.
So you gotta be a person that people can trust, because just being the person like, I'm just going for the sale, it's never gonna, longevity is not gonna be in that. They'll move on to the next person with a better, they're giving them a better discount. But if you have that relationship, they'll be like, nah, we gonna stick with her, even though her prices are higher.
Right.
We're gonna stick with her because she's adding way more value, and we trust her. I can kind of turn my back, and I know she's gonna take care of it as if it was hers. So it's all about, you know, making sure you're just a upstanding individual.
I agree. And I will say 2 more things: quality over quantity, and I pretty much say that across a lot of things. Yeah, I do. So like, it's not the quantity of people that you meet; it's the quality. It's not the quantity of events; it's the quality.
That's true. Because it don't matter if you got 1 million followers on LinkedIn, but you can't hit nobody up and nobody can get you a job when you need one, or you don't have somebody that trusts you enough, that you know enough to be like, hey, I'm looking, here's my resume, can you put me in front of a hiring manager?
Yes.
You don't have anybody that has your back like that, it won't matter. So if you got 10 good people in your network, you can make some things happen.
Yes.
So.
And then my last networking tip, and I think a lot of people know this, is I have a networking blazer.
I'm not going to say what color it is, but
Please,
if you go on her page.
So when I tell you this blazer has attracted professional and personal contacts, believe it or not. Oh, in Texas and out of Texas, at conferences. So have a statement piece or something that, for me, a pop of color, because it shows your personality.
Be interesting.
Be interesting.
Because that's being interesting. People are like, oh, wow, I like your blazer. Or that color looks good on you. You know,
you wore leopard. Oh.
I love your brooch.
Yes. So I would say definitely be strategic in what you wear. Because,
see, mine is my name. My name is my thing. So as soon as I'm like, my name is Aries, they're like, Aries? Like the zodiac sign? Yep. Are you an Aries? Yes. And then we kind of go into that. And that's a starting point, right? Sometimes. So
you're unforgettable from that.
My backpack.
Yes.
My backpack, it has these like spikes on it, and people will be like, oh, nice backpack. And I'm like, yeah, you know, sometimes you got to change it up, want to be different, and then you just are trying to start a dialogue. You can start it from any place.
Yes.
You know, but yeah, you're right about that.
I go for bold colors.
Definitely. And don't wear just, okay, we're not going to go into all that. I don't think I want to get into what to wear, but.
They can Pinterest it.
Be appropriate.
Yep. All right, so that pretty much wraps up what we have today for networking and some of our input and experiences based on that.
And hold on one second. Let me say this. Since we're the Bold Black Girls podcast, I do want to say, you know, I think as Black people, that's something that we got to step up, because I think we're kind of culturally, and it depends on what generation you're in. A lot of times we're taught like kind of to not do that, like network. You kind of just go, you go home, you don't really do all the extra stuff. You ain't got time for that. I don't have time to be going out to the happy hours with your boss.
Yeah,
exactly.
Go have drinks with Tommy.
You need to go to the happy hour. Find a way to get a sitter, because that's where people are having the casual conversations, and you might be missing out on something that is happening that you need to be a part of. So that is important.
I agree. I'm glad you brought that up.
You know, because we decide to be like, don't be happy with your business. Yeah. Don't be saying,
just go home, go to work, and go right home.
Do your job, go home. No, you got to network internally and externally. You need to have people inside your company that know you, know your name, know what value you're adding. Your boss's boss should know what you've been contributing, and you're going to have to be the one that shares that. It's not going to happen.
That's very good. To add to that, let your kids know what you're doing too.
Yeah.
Because my daughter knows I'm going networking. Don't call my phone.
Yeah.
Unless it's an emergency. Now she will text me because she's of age. She's like, are you okay? It's 10 o'clock. I said, I'm at Bible study, all right?
Lying to the child. Yeah, my kids even know. They're like, you got a meeting tonight? Yeah,
yes,
I have a meeting. They'll let them come with me.
Yes.
They'll come with me to some of them.
Expose them so that they know what that is. Remember we went networking and we're in the room and Kiara's pictures on the wall when we're networking.
Yes, that is so funny.
I call it's a full circle moment.
Yeah. Yeah, I do it. And I brought my kids, and people be like, oh, they're so well behaved.
And tell them why you're networking too.
Yep. Got to. It all goes together.
It
It all
does.
ties together.
So, do we have time for this or that?
I feel like we've been talking.
I do too. So we're just going to jump into what the call to action is, right?
Yeah.
So I would say our call to action is one, attend one networking event this month. Be very intentional about the event.
Yes. Go on Meetup, Eventbrite. Those are two really good ones just to like kind of get your feet wet. You can easily search for the type of events that you want. They're pretty good with, you know, the descriptions, so you can go find something in your city and just go at a time convenient for you. Lunchtime, breakfast,
Yes.
or in the evening. It's not, you know, some of these are even on the weekends, so you might can find something that you can network on the weekends.
Yep. And at that networking event, connect with at least one person. One person that you will follow up, and Aries is so good about this. Her follow-up is amazing. On LinkedIn, she will go out and make that post, tag them, and she keeps the connection going. There have been instances where I've even met up with people for lunch.
Mm-hmm.
Or happy hour.
I'm good for that.
Me
I
too.
will get on your calendar.
Call me Miss Happy Hour.
Because it's a whole different ballgame when you're talking about like LinkedIn, right? You got I'm, like I said, how strategic I am as far as like I will go to somewhere to make sure I make that face-to-face connection. I will follow up on LinkedIn. If it was an event where I took pictures and you were there, you know, I'm going to tag you like, hey, it was so great seeing these people, and tag all their little names, you know, in there. And then other people are seeing the other names too. They're like, oh, she's connected. Let me reach out and connect with her. Other people are now wanting to connect because they're seeing the type of connections that you're making with other people as well. But I follow up and I'm like, hey, if they're open to lunch or coffee or something, I'll go.
And you know what else I've started doing? I'll invite them to a networking event. Hey, I'm going to this event. Come join me.
I just did that yesterday.
Yep.
I was like, maybe we can, because sometimes you don't want to have lunch. You don't really want to have a face-to-face with this person.
Yes.
You might just be like, hey, I'm going to be at this event. You know, maybe we can meet up at an event one day and just kind of share the event with the person. They might be like, hey, I'll go. And then that way you can introduce them to other people.
Yep.
Like, you're just kind of multiplying this whole networking thing. So it can go so many different ways.
All right. Well, that concludes what we have here for today.
From the queens?
Yes, from the queens of networking. I love it.
Yeah, yes. No, I don't have anything else.
All right. So just to close it out, I know that we want you all to rate and review.
Yes, please. If you're on Apple, specifically Apple, that's kind of where you really, where it counts. So please do that. But whatever platform you're on, if there's some like buttons or something there, go ahead and like it for us.
Yep.
And I think that's it.
That's it.
All right. Well, we will see you all next week.